it's sort of a chicken and egg thing, because I think both of you are talking about the idea of building up more of a community using the Kickstarter, but you kind of have to have a community that wants to interact with you in that way to start with. Like, I do kind of sense that a certain amount of the Kickstarter activity is Kickstarter supporting each other. So I think especially in the author community, like I just sense there's this community of Kickstarter using authors, and they're very generous about supporting each other's Kickstarters. But among your reader base, it has to be seeded with people who want to, or maybe already are interacting with you in that way. So Jennifer, can you just talk a little bit about that? Like, which comes first, the seed of that kind of community, or can that come as a result of the Kickstarter?
Yeah. I think one thing that I keep learning, and I keep forgetting, but I keep relearning, is that there's so many people out there. And I feel like sometimes, especially when we are like in our author communities, we feel like there's only a finite number of people that are interested in our work, and a finite, and that probably is true. There's also just so many people out there. And I feel like Kickstarter has shown me a window into just how many other people out there that I didn't even know who could be potentially interested in my work, or who only heard about it from that. And so I think that's, like I said, I keep learning it and kind of keep forgetting it. But I think I don't understand exactly how or why how there are so many people on Kickstarter, but there are a lot of people there. And so the biggest challenge, I think, when you put something up there is gaining that visibility for them to see you. And so that's the kind of thing that kind of it becomes more popular we're trying to do. And so they have this little sticker that if your project funds in a certain number of time, you get like a projects we love thing. And then you kind of get a little more visibility. But in general, I just think there's just a whole lot of people out there who want to read and are interested in different ideas. And, like when so I did 2 campaigns. In the second one, either time I have done very little promo, like pre-order, put a lot of pre-order. Just because it's taken me so long to set it all up, I don't do like weeks or months of that. I just kind of tend to be like, okay, guess what? This is coming out in 3 days. The campaign's going to start. And it's been really interesting to me that like immediately I see people backing it who I don't know any of these people. They're not authors. I don't recognize any of the names. And like the one that I did that like opened early in the night, there were like already people who are looking at it. So it was this kind of, there are just a lot of people who are on their computers, looking around, seeing what's out there. And I think so that's kind of a good thing for us to remember, because it can feel like, are we all just in the same tiny little pool? And I think it's actually a much bigger pool than we think.
Yeah, I guess I always just assume, because this is how I would use Kickstarter. And of course, it's easy to fall into that trick of everybody else is using something the way I'm using it. But I only ever go to Kickstarter if I hear somebody that I already like announce they have a Kickstarter. And then I'll go look and say, oh, yeah, that looks good. I'm going to fund that. But I would never go to Kickstarter just to like poke around.
Right. But I think there are that do.
Yeah, evidently.
Yeah.
Megan, what are your thoughts about that?
Yes, I agree. I think that there are people that Kickstarter has become the primary way that they shop for books. They want, especially I think book collectors who want that physical copy in their hands. I think there are people, that's how they do it. They like the system. They like interacting with the authors directly. They like having that physical, gorgeous, product in their hands. So I think and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a completely different audience than the people that are in, just reading ebooks online and are used to that. So I think there's that aspect to it. I would say, as far as the chicken and the egg, I think it's both. I think you need both. So if you've up to this point been primarily or exclusively online with Amazon, especially if you're exclusive with Amazon, but even just even if you're wide, if you're across all the ebook platforms, if you've been mostly digital, your audience is therefore going to be mostly digital. They're going to be the ones that have subscribed to your list. Now, some of those people will be super fans or want that physical, beautiful collector's edition because they love your work. But as a percentage, it's hard to say what that percentage is going to be. It will fund some, but it's probably not going to be everything. Meanwhile, now you've got this Kickstarter page, and especially I think after your first campaign, and we'll see how this works out for my second campaign. So Jennifer, you might be able to speak to this a little bit more, but it starts to snowball because all the people that backed your first campaign, you can now message them and say, hey, I've got a new campaign up. I've got a new book, or I've got, this special edition. And so people now, they do already know you. They're already in the system. And so I think that there's more momentum there.